Fall Line by Michael Garon. Episode 28, The Lions of Tanzania. But back to where I began, writing. It wasn't going well. 600 pages into it, representing 4 fresh starts, and I still had the barest notion of where I wanted it to go. It would be about testing a genetic modification in Tanzanian cattle. The modification would contaminate Maasai cows. The Maasai are a nomadic people who live in and around some of the big Tanzanian game reserves. They have a strong warrior culture and are proud of their traditions. Tanzanians treat the Maasai with reverence and respect. My primary source was a Maasai leader I'd gotten to know quite well, Mike Olumokoro, known across Tanzania as Maasai Mike. I mention him here because I wanted to relate a lion story, but first I need to tell one of Mike's. After we got to know each other at the university, Mike started coming around to the house. One evening he showed up for dinner with a couple of village elders in tow. At some point in the evening, Mike left the room. I chose that moment to ask something I'd been wondering about. We hear so much about the Maasai and lions. I know it's trite, but do you know people who've actually killed one? They looked at each other and started to laugh. You don't know? Neither of us has killed a lion, but Mike has. He's killed 3, they reported with pride. When Mike returned, I quizzed him about it. He said, well, I'll tell you about the first one. I was tending my father's cattle alone when I was 13. I saw a lion spring from the grass and land on my father's prize bull. The noise that lion made was crazy, and he had the bull down by its throat. I wanted to run away and hide, but I knew my father would be very angry if I didn't do something. So I gathered up my courage, and I ran up to the lion, and I hurled my spear with all my might. It was a good throw. The spear stuck deep into the lion's shoulder. But lions are incredibly tough. He jumped up and ran at me. Luckily, I was near a tree. I got up that tree so fast I almost escaped him. Almost? I asked. He smiled and asked Nancy to excuse herself. When she'd left the room, he dropped his pants. His right leg was torn with deep trenches running from his hip almost to his knee. My God, what did you do? I asked. What could I do? I stayed up in the tree. He sat at the base with my spear in his shoulder. His breathing got heavier and heavier, and about 2 hours later he died. Then I climbed down, cut off his tail, and took it home. Tanzania's lions fascinate me. They're awesome animals. I remember one night years before when I'd been sleeping in a camp in Botswana. My tent was beside a pride of lions. They kept me awake all night with their continuous, unnerving, soul-shattering roars. The next morning I asked my guide if they were always roared that loud at night. He said, they weren't roaring, that's how deep they breathe. I'd been following the tribulations of a small town south of Dar for several weeks. Here's the summary of it I found on BBC. Quote, a man-eating lion linked to the deaths of at least 35 people in southern Tanzania may have killed because it had a toothache, wildlife experts believe. They say the lion probably switched from hunting buffaloes to human because it found the meat less painful to chew. The lion stalked its prey in 8 villages in the coastal Rufiji River district over a period of 20 months. What the article doesn't say is that the details constitute one of the more incredible lion stories ever. I related an article I had recently seen about a woman who lived near the Rufiji River to a group from our U.S. Embassy. She was, they reported, answering the call of nature late one night when the lion attacked her. Her husband, hearing her screams, grabbed his spear and managed to chase the lion away. Unfortunately, it was too late to save his wife. The man carried his wife's body into the house. Then he realized that the man-eater was bound to return to finish off his meal. The man made the painful decision to end the town's terror by killing the lion, using his wife's body as bait. He tied her corpse to a tree and waited for the lion. When it came back, he managed to kill it with his spear.